Great news, guys! 4Ocean just announced that they have removed a total of more than 30 million pounds of trash from the world's oceans, rivers, and coastlines since 2017. That is a huge milestone and a huge improvement for our environment. And speaking of the ocean, have you ever seen a Burmese peacock softshell turtle? I love all turtles, but these guys are so cute. The team at Fauna and Flora recently recorded 15 just hatched little babies leaving their homes, and they are just adorable. The turtles were caught, studied, and released back into the wild with the hope that they will be able to rebuild the peacock turtle population, which I think is fantastic. Now, in other animal news, a litter of kittens was rescued from certain death recently by workers at a recycling center in Whitney, UK. The 4 kittens were just 6 weeks old, and they were hidden in the recycling waste at the center. It looks like they were either abandoned there, or maybe their mother was feral and found a cozy spot in the cardboard pile to give birth. We're really not sure. Either way, the staff quickly pulled them out of harm's way and brought them to a vet who passed them on to the Oxfordshire RSPCA. The 4 kittens have been named Felicity, Pepper, Serendipity, and Ollie. They will be posted when they are ready for adoption, so make sure you follow that organization if you're in the area and want to claim one of those little miracle kitties. Now, it's not just animals that had a good week either, guys. It's been a great week for humans, too. In Southampton, UK, a mother and father who were expecting twins made the heartbreaking decision to medically terminate one of their twins to increase the chances that the other child would survive. As a parent, I can't even imagine being put in a position where I would have to make a choice like that. However, doctors had advised Corinne Rose and Will Katanak that their baby was unlikely to survive because his amniotic sac had burst early and it was putting the other twin at risk. The parents made the tough decision to medically terminate one child to save the other, but on the day the procedure was scheduled, the twins were miraculously born. Corinne went into labor at 32 weeks and had to scoop her twins out of the toilet after their surprise arrival. But after a few weeks in the hospital, both boys are doing well. Another preemie is making news in Glasgow, Scotland as well. Jamie Moore was born very early, and doctors estimated that he only had a 1 in 10 chance of surviving. He spent 11 weeks at the hospital before he was released to go home. It's been 4 years since then, and Jamie is now making headlines as a child genius. He can do multiplication, equations, fractions, and percentages in 6 different languages, including French, German, Japanese, Spanish, and Mandarin at 4 years old. I can't even do that, and I am much older. I'm not even sure I could do all of that in English, to be honest. Anyway, here's another story that I love. Kevin Bonecutter from Cincinnati, Ohio, is on a mission to complete 143 acts of kindness in just 40 days. He started on June 1st, and he has been very busy. He has cut grass, picked up trash, passed out free food, and even participated in a 5K fundraiser. According to local news provider KJZZ, he chose the number 143 because each number corresponds to the number of letters in each word of the phrase, "I love you." In Boston, Massachusetts, a woman who was lost for several days was found alive, stuck in the mud in a nearby state park. Emma Tatuski was stuck in the mud in a swamp. Hikers heard her shouting and went for help. Police officers were able to wade into the swamp, it was about 50 feet out, and rescue her. She was taken to the hospital with serious but not life-threatening injuries, which was a miracle considering how long she was out there. In Charlotte, North Carolina, a man named Jeffrey Green is making a miraculous recovery after falling 4 stories and landing on concrete. Isn't that crazy? In June 2019, Jeffrey suffered a disastrous fall and had to be resuscitated twice. Shockingly, he didn't have a head injury, and the only bone he broke was his hip socket, which was completely separated from his pelvis. It was a rough road to recovery. Jeffrey spent 100 days in the hospital and another 3 months at a rehab facility. It took him over a year to walk again. But it's been 4 years, and Atrium Health just reported that Jeffrey is in the best shape of his life. He walks everywhere, is attending law school, and even went skiing last year. It is amazing that he is able to do that after that accident. And speaking of miraculous recoveries, a helicopter crashed into the Swiss Alps last Tuesday, but miraculously, all 5 people on board survived. The helicopter blade had touched the ground, flipping the helicopter onto its side, but none of the passengers were even injured. Back in Cincinnati, a recent high school graduate is about to embark on an amazing and accidental adventure. Ella Vaughn's life changed when she broke her wrist in the 4th grade because she loves music and she wanted to be playing the guitar and the piano, but with that broken wrist, she was unable to practice for a while. She loved music so much she was determined not to quit, so she decided to sing instead, and her talent quickly became clear. Ella has spent the last few years participating in vocal competitions. She won 1st place at the Schmidt Vocal National Competition, and now she gets to pursue a vocal program in Italy this summer. I love the way that Ella was able to transform a negative like breaking her wrist into such an incredible opportunity. I found that sometimes the best things that happen in our lives are an accidental side effect of something terrible that happened. For example, I wouldn't have started this channel with the Kindness Chronicles series if I hadn't started Low Income Relief, and I wouldn't have started Low Income Relief if I hadn't had a soul-crushing experience with poverty when my husband became disabled when we were younger. All the good things that I'm enjoying right now kind of stem back to something tragic too. But I have found that if we open ourselves up to opportunity, bad things can often lead us to more good things. In Hartford, Connecticut, a community is celebrating after a miracle baby was sent home from the NICU after 128 days in the hospital. Zarelis Francis Anguera was born at 22 weeks and weighed just 12.4 ounces. That's less than a pound. She was the smallest ever baby born in St. Francis Hospital. I thought this was really interesting because her mother, Nachalise, said that she had gotten a tattoo of the name Francis when she was 15. She explained to the Today Show that although Francis, with an E, is a family name, she had spelled it with an I on the tattoo, the same way that the hospital spells it. In her words, quote, "I had no idea why I spelled it differently on my tattoo. I now understand that it was for my miracle workers," end quote. Isn't that beautiful? Now, another cool story came out of Pennsylvania recently. Molly Jones was diagnosed with kidney failure, and she asked her Facebook friends if anyone would be willing to donate a kidney to her. An online friend named Christy quickly replied, and it was a tender moment for these two because they had connected online 6 years earlier when Christy saved Molly's dad's life. Sure enough, Christy was a match, so Christy now has saved both Molly's dad and Molly herself. And since Molly's daughter also has a condition that may require a transplant in the future, Christy's already hard at work trying to find family members that may be able to provide that for her in her time of need. Also in Pennsylvania, formerly conjoined twins Abby and Aaron Delaney recently graduated kindergarten. At the time of their birth, doctors estimated that the girls had only a 2% chance of survival. The surgery to separate them took over 11 hours. Now, due to their condition, Abby and Aaron do have some learning delays and they are still learning how to walk. However, they are dearly loved and were even given special awards at their recent graduation. Aaron was recognized for her adventurous heart, and Abby was given an award for being a kind friend. And finally, in London, the local food bank received a flood of community support after a recent break-in. The response has been so incredible that Peak FM reports that the food bank director admitted that although it's weird, the break-ins have actually turned out to be a blessing for them. They were even given some security cameras, and the police are helping them figure out how to make the premises more secure, and the community is showing up in amazing ways to help restore their garden and make sure that people in need are getting the food that they need. I love it when a community rallies together for a cause, so I'm glad that things are turning out so well with them. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Kindness Chronicles. I'll see you next week.